Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insights. Quite often, they've been through some sort of personal transformative journey. In a way, who hasn't in life? There's obstacles galore everywhere, and very few of us say, hey, it's an opportunity for my growth. Lisa Jones is joining us from Maui. She's been a regular on the show. She was episode 71, if you want to check her out, May 26th of 2024. Also, you can check her out in the APL Spotlights series. She was our fifth guest. Lisa's fantastic spiritual mentor, intuition educator, and more. Very storied background. She shared a lot with us on the show. I'm super excited to see her. Lisa, welcome back to Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here, Michael, and connecting here from Maui.
I love it. And that's a real background, not one of those.
Oh, yeah. Let me just grab one of these here.
I love it. So, like, when I connect with you in Maui and you, it's like a breath of fresh air. We'll say Hawaiian fresh air. So I'm very thankful for this. What would you want to share with us that's been something in the last couple of years that's kind of come to the forefront, either what you're teaching, what you're appreciating more daily? What can you share with us that's kind of at the forefront of everything for you?
Well, actually, it's really happened. I guess it has started about a year ago, but I'm really leaning into human design. And I don't know if you've done any work with human design, but it's just been life-changing for me as far as understanding who I am. I'm a projector, which means I'm really here to help guide people. And it made so much sense when I heard it. And also, I don't like to stay in a box. I mean, it's kind of like astrology or other types of things. I feel like it's a great blueprint to just learn more about yourself, but I feel like it's really helped me expand knowledge about who I am and why I'm here. And I'm super excited. I'm in a year-long in-depth study about it right now. And so I'm excited. That's going to be one of my next iterations of helping others with their
Ooh.
human design.
And does it put your past experiences into a more understandable?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's helping me really come into like, why am I here? Like it helps me find what is, what am I here to serve other people to do? And it's really exciting. As a former certified public accountant for Ernst and Young and Price Waterhouse, I have that background in accounting and financials. And now I'm understanding more that I'm really here to help businesses like take their experience to the next level. Like it's called the freak to genius zone. And so I can just listen and hear and observe. And then all of a sudden I'll just come up with an idea that is out of the box beyond anything anybody's ever thought of before. And it helps them have that competitive edge where, just trying to stand out in the marketplace. So I am beyond excited. I feel like I have this whole new energy for life and what I'm here for to serve and help others, find their greatest passion and desires and bring those to life.
Mm. Okay, and now talk to us about a little bit of like aloha, love, compassion, kindness. Is love the fabric of the universe?
Oh, absolutely. That was the one thing when I had my out of body shared death experience where I witnessed my husband passing away. It was 20 years ago now. I cannot believe it. But when I was in the other realm, I'll call it, I mean, the pure unconditional love that I felt was so palpable and so real. And that's the message I came back with, is that love is all there is at the end of the day. And so anything that's not love is not real. And it's just about leaning more into the love that you are. And that's what we're here to do, is to learn to love ourselves, because we are one with all. And so the more that you love yourself, the more that you love everyone around you, and you realize that this is all just a holographic experience to up level our, our spirit experience.
Okay, now if somebody still hasn't tracked with that the whole way, they're like, but they've said but to the camera watching us.
Right.
Can you just put it in terms of how to at least slow down more daily?
Absolutely. Well, number one, I love to share is stop watching the news and get off social media. And I will attest, I am addicted to social media. I deleted the apps off my phone 2 years ago, but I'll still go on to the whatever it is on my phone where I can type it in and look at it. And I just get sucked in. And so that's the plan, right? They want us to be sucked into that. And and again, with the news, like being addicted to that. So for me, step number one is really stepping back, unplugging, spending time in nature. As you know, this is my outdoor cottage. or right outside my cottage. And I go down to the beach every morning. I do my yoga. I was down there at 5:30 this morning because I had a lot of calls going on today, but I was down there, did my yoga, jumped in the ocean. And then tonight I'll be back down there doing a sunset walk. So unplug and spend time in nature. Those are two of the fastest ways that you can get in touch with that love energy that is all around us.
And can we rest there for just a little bit? I mean, I know people are hearing it, but the way it works, I mean, if it was spirituality or anything else, sometimes I got to hear stuff 200 times. It's this and then this. And then I'm like a year later, I'm like, really? That's what you meant? Like, I'm slow on the uptake. I'm a fast teacher. But let's talk about the nature thing. There's just a huge difference. People aren't going to appreciate it. If you're in a big city, you're working, you stumbled on this 5 years from now, you're watching from Tokyo or Germany, Berlin, and you're surrounded by concrete. There's something about nature. Can you just put it in the Lisa Jones patented method of a cool descriptor for us?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think that's one of the things. I just got back from the mainland. I was there for 3 weeks and spent time in Minneapolis and in Denver. And I really understand why people are so disconnected from nature. Living in these big cities, being surrounded by so many people, the energy just gets, it's like concrete, the energy with so many people in one specific place. And so that's why it's imperative, in my opinion, to take time out and just even if you can go find like a little piece of grass near you, take off your shoes and ground your feet in, feel the ground with your feet. That is a really great way. If you can't, if you don't live in a place like this where you have nature right outside your door, but even just grounding your feet. The other thing that I found amazing, which again, you can see here, every leaf behind me, it's about showing us that abundance is everywhere. So I've been playing little games where I'm driving and I'm looking at all the leaves and I'm like, oh my gosh, every leaf I see is $100 bill that's in my bank account. And that has been such a blast. I nearly drove off the road because I'm like, oh my gosh, like taking in the abundance of what is. And again, even if you're in a city, you can just look at one tree and just imagine that every leaf on that tree is $100 bill that's going into your account right now. It just fills you up with that energy, with that fun. I mean, I think part of it too, people are just lost from having fun and using your imagination. Like we're so robotic, just paying the bills, getting up, going to work, paying the bills. And it's like, no, that's not what we're here for. We're here to have fun. We're here to love. We're here to embrace the abundance that is all around us. And nature is such a great teacher for showing us so many different aspects. And I love even walking and I'll say hi to the trees and I swear they start to wave back to me. Have you ever had that?
I haven't had the wave back, and I get it what you were saying earlier about being regimented. But I go on these runs in North San Antonio, and I know people think Texas is flat, but it's 12% mini mountains. I call them mini mountains. If you live in Colorado, you'd laugh at me, but they're 12%. They're big.
Little mounds is what we call them from
Yeah,
Colorado.
but I mean, they take you from like a 6 to 7.5 minute mile down to like a 10-minute mile. I mean, you're just like, so the tendency is to look down at your shoes. Look, you can ask the mountain for help. I've had for 3 weeks angels, Native American chiefs reminding me, chin up, look ahead, look at the trees over and over and over
Love
again.
it.
And yeah, and I'm supposed to touch the cedar. I like all the trees, but the cedar trees, I love cedar trees. So I at least put a finger or a hand out like I'm getting a high five in the middle of a marathon. And I touch a tree branch and there's a bigger transaction happening. And I'd love for you to do, I know it's going to sound redundant to go back to this theme, but there's a bigger transaction. I'll give a word: awareness. It's awareness is here. Grow your awareness. Don't grow your thinking and what you think you know. What you're carrying with you societally gets stripped away when you go for the run, you go for the walk, you do whatever. Can you talk to us a little more about the awareness factor of this? That's what you're tapping into.
I love that so much. And yes, it's dropping out of your head and into your heart. And I think so many of us are disconnected from our hearts. We are taught, and this is again, it's so interesting. Part of the human design is that, we all think that we're supposed to be working from our head, but that is not it. That's our societal pressure. That's how our school systems taught us. That's how, we're taught, like watching television is called programming for a reason, or television. I mean, that's what we just get sucked into being told what to do, but instead, and we're using our eyes and our brain to process that. But no, by turning that off and going into nature, that's when you can connect with your heart. And that's where all the amazing awareness starts to show up. You start getting prompts to do things, you start getting nudges, and that's where magic starts happening. That's where miracles start occurring. when you're open, and I've got my whole body is chilling and tingling right now. You can maybe see the hair standing up, but that's the truth, to really connect to why you're here and to find more joy in your life is to fall into your heart and just allow that brain to be still and just let your body. Our bodies are so knowledgeable and has so much wisdom for us, but we just get caught up in staying up here too much. So that's just to help us, get the bills paid on time. But meanwhile, how to create the money to pay the bills comes from our heart.
And this is an intercom and inner experience that just has always been there when you were a kid. You might have shunted it off for a while or decades at a time if you're doing adulting too seriously. But it's just something that, again, it's beyond words, beyond the mind, beyond structure, beyond all that stuff. That's the adult stuff that we take so seriously.
That's right.
Talk to us about aloha. You're in Hawaii. What have you come to? You've been there on and off for a long time. What have you come to appreciate about aloha?
Well, yes, I've been living here now, coming up on 8 years, which is unbelievable to me. And meanwhile, I've been visiting for probably 30 years prior to that. But about aloha, I will say probably the biggest thing is the idea of ho'oponopono, which is forgiveness, and that all started with a doctor that was just looking at patients' records and not even interacting with them because they were basically in an insane asylum and nothing had been helping them. So he just thought he'd just look at their records and just say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." Because he realized, and this circles back to what I was saying before, we are all one. And so by recognizing the frailties in another person, that's also within you, that you start saying, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you," it starts to dissolve, those energetics. And these people ultimately, all after, a period of time, they were all ultimately released to either, less horrendous situations where they had more freedom, or they were actually cured from what they were going through. So I love that, the aloha meaning with breath. And that's Hawaiians traditionally would come forehead to forehead and share a breath. And again, another symbolism of we are all one, sharing the same breath. And it's amazing. There's a real feeling here of aloha and pure love here on Maui.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about some sort of a sacred or spiritual activity that it could be the monthly ceremony, some group somewhere. It could be just the walk on the beach, but something that's a little more than just daily that you attribute a little more to. Is there something you could share with us as part of your either yearly, monthly practice, again, outside of your daily experience?
That's a great question. In fact, just last night was a friend of mine, Don Lax. He plays the violin, and every full moon and new moon, he does a gathering where he plays the violin, and he's exquisite, and he runs through all the chakras and clears them out. And it's an out of worldly experience because you're laying on the floor listening. And then he has Denise, who does the crystal bowls. So she's playing the crystal bowls as he's doing the violin. And it's just a wonderful, because every 2 weeks you're having a full moon. I mean, it's obviously every month, and then the new moon, but it's intermittently every 2 weeks. And it's a wonderful way to reset and to just take the time to be silent and be with music and experience that.
And that brings us to the next question. Tibetan Buddhists or just Buddhists talk about dust, and I'll call it thinking, or you collect a lot of thoughts, and I'll call it Samsonite luggage. We don't realize it. We're like Santa with a gajillion suitcases of this is what happened to me. This person is a jerk, and I've seen it. I can prove it.
Right.
Right. They're
Right.
wrong. We're all, especially Americans, we're all that way. And then you get to clean house and do the Santorini thing, paint your walls white or dust and get rid of the dust. And that lasts for, I don't know how long, 2 weeks. And that's why you need another ceremony. But how do you describe that cyclical? We're back up here, we collect a lot of stuff, and none of it helps us. And then there's inner expansion, inner just awareness and being. Can you talk to us a little bit about that housekeeping, house cleaning we can do, and for our surroundings too?
I love that question. I think a big part of it for me is really coming to the present moment. Anything that's from the past it's no longer existing. I mean, I attribute the past similar to a dream. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you're just coming out of a dream and it felt so real, but then it's like, you know, again, like what am I thinking? Dandelions when you blow them and they just float away. And so it's interesting how much we all attribute so much to our past and hang on to that and drag it behind us wherever we go. And yet, by allowing ourselves to just remember it with fondness, but also you can rewrite it. There's so many opportunities. I've learned so many methods of really going back. In fact, there's this great one I just learned. It's actually a YouTube video where a gentleman, it's a 10-minute thing where he goes back and you imagine the ideal parents growing up. And it's just been life changing because it basically, and again, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm sure there are people that had amazing childhoods. However, there are certain things that probably people didn't get. You know, there's 5 tenets that he goes through about, you know, safety and attunement, that they really listen and are know who you are. And I feel like this is helping me find my own self-love within me, just imagining these ideal parents. And every time I go into this short 10-minute video, I mean, I just feel like, wow, I'm so loved and appreciated. And um, I don't have to drag all that baggage of, oh gosh, my parents yelled at me when I was a kid, or, you know, I didn't get the attention I needed, or I was adopted as a child. So I have a whole big thing about, you know, not even being good enough. Once I was born, I was given away. Well, that's, you know, again, all these stories are not helping us get where we want to go. So I think it behooves us all to really take the time and energy to set aside our past and not keep using it as our victim story to continue moving forward. And, you know, and the same with the future. It's, you know, people are, well, I'll be happier when I lose 10 pounds. I'll be happier when I get X amount of money. I'll be happier when I move. What about this moment? How can you make your life happier right here, right now? And that's all we have control over is the present moment. So, you know, spending time just realizing what the reality really is, which is all we have is this moment. So make it as wonderful and as precious as it is to move forward. I wake up every day just grateful that I have another day to go out and experience being in this live human body that we've been gifted, because so many people aren't. I mean, my goodness, you know, you just never know when your last day is going to be upon you. So enjoy every minute that you have.
Beautiful. You can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. All right, Lisa Jones, instead of asking you about the past to today, the learning curve, any expansion, this and that, what do you think's on the roster on the stovetop and bubbling right now, and you're expanding into as we speak for like the rest of the year into next year? Are there some areas you really are feeling are kind of opening up for you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really about getting outside my comfort zone. Again, I live an extraordinarily beautiful life. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'd love her life. And yet I find myself just getting caught in the day to day, you know, not getting out as much as I'd like. I do, you know, my work that I do keeps me at home quite often, which again, I love, but I'm actually getting an opportunity to do a pet sitting thing for a friend next week. And it's on the other side of the island. It's 40 minutes from here and it's near Haleakala. It's near a forest that I love to go hiking in. It's near several of my friends that live over there. So I'm already planning this amazing staycation, and I'm just so excited. And it's funny how here I am just going to be 40 minutes from my home. And yet look at all the excitement that I'm having planning you know, to do things that I don't normally do. So I guess for me, I'm just, you know, would recommend get out of the mundane and the day-to-day structures that we've all set up for ourselves and look for fun, different activities that you can do just right in your own backyard.
Well, hey, and also if you live in Hawaii, you get certain routines down where if you lived in Rhode Island, that could be like going to Vermont. I know we just talk about a 40-minute trip to the other side of the island, but it might be a year for some people or two before since they've gone the 40 minutes that direction, because there's just this certain gravitational pull to do what you know.
That's exactly right. I know people that, I mean, like Lahaina, you know, and people that, I mean, they haven't been in 8 or 10 years. And I'm
Yeah,
like, wait, what?
that's
Like, I mean,
island life.
yeah,
People get it.
Yeah, people always are asking if I get island fever. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's so much to do just again, within the 10-15 minute radius of where I live, let alone going to the other side of the island, which, could be 45 minutes to an hour and a half to go to Hana or something like that. So, yeah,
It,
there's plenty to do.
the next question, if you could so delicately, as if it was being broadcast on every billboard, your answer so really delicately, like 100,000 feet up, between the economy, Lahaina, all the other stuff going on, politics, the government, this, local government, everything else, there's a lot happening there. Can you go to the most compassionate, gentle level? Because there's a lot of people struggling right now in Hawaii. But can you find a way to very gently cover that? And I mean so gently, because yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
That's a beautiful question. And I feel the turmoil that's happening on our planet, not just here in Hawaii, not just here in the United States, but in every country on this planet, and the uncertainty of what's happening. And I really do feel this new age that's upon us, that is opening up. I've heard it likened to, you like you need to let the old festering pieces come out first. And that's what we're in right now. We're in this very uncomfortable time where darkness is being brought to light, and it's not fun, it's not happy, it's excruciatingly difficult. A lot of people have lost either their lives or their property, or friendships. And so once again, coming back to that self-love and knowing that the only way through this is to face the fear and do it anyway. I am being reminded of the buffalo that stands with their head toward the storm.
Mm.
And that's what we all really ideally do right now, is stand in our knowingness that we are enough ourselves, and that no matter what turmoil is going on around us, as long as we are good with ourselves, if every single one of us stood up and we were okay with ourselves, there wouldn't be any of this chaos. We would all be okay with ourselves. And that's a beginning place where ultimately we're going to find ourselves. But right now, there's a lot of turbulence, a lot of trepidation going on. And I think in 2 or 3 years, when we look back, we'll be so proud of ourselves, for those of us that were able to find the peace within ourselves instead of focusing on outside of me and what everyone else is doing that I don't like, and then making that a problem, because it's not a problem. If you're okay with you, there's nothing outside of you can be a problem. So it's just self-focused, but also in a service-oriented way, that you're giving positively back into the universe rather than pointing out what's wrong. I think that's a big topic right now.
Okay, now you just led us into the next one, but we're going to sidetrack for a second. We're going to a leap of faith that it requires for literally every fourth topic you've talked about to go from here to here, religious, non-religious, leap of faith. So we're going to segue into that in a second, but I want to mention a guest who I don't think has come out yet. It might be like the first week of December 2024. It might be the fall, November-ish. It's Vita Austin in New Zealand, Consciousness in Water, but she went through a famous car wreck in New Zealand that no one should have survived. And in fact, I don't think the other occupants survived. 26 operations, and there was a point where they thought they had taken care of everything, and then glass started coming out, like what you talked about, that you have to have something happen first before the final and total healing. She had the final glass shards they didn't even know about come out of her skin. Totally painful, but it had something to do. You'll have to watch the show. I forget everything. Beautiful show, beautiful person. She had a separate near-death experience where she was in the water for like, I'm going to make it up, 3 hours. Not U.S. Coast Guard, the Australian Coast Guard just said she must have landed on the rock somehow, and they don't know where the time went. But when you hear the folks she met and the rest of that, holy cow, interdimensional or from way out, who knows? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful recounting. And it reminded me of what you talked about, the difficulty sometimes we have to go through of the letting go of what we're holding on to. And so with that, can you wrap this back into, it's almost like nature. We see it, we know we should do it. It's kind of like mowing the lawn, mopping the floor, but you put it off for a month and you're like, whoa. Or the dog walks. Your dogs are every day looking at you like, Daddy, you got to walk me. And you're like, I really will. And 2 hours goes by, you didn't walk them. Okay, so there's a leap of faith to get out of here into here, and that is for all of us to take advantage of daily. Can you talk to us about this concept of that? It's a leap. It's actually a crazy ass leap. And once you start doing it, doesn't it get a little easier most of the time?
I think it does. And I think it's as simple as setting a timer on your phone to remind you just to take a minute or two or three and just breathe. I mean, if nothing else, just, put the timer on and for 3 minutes, just sit and be okay with what is. I think a lot of times we want to take that leap of faith and we want instant changes to be made. And yet, the only changes that can be made are, like you said, getting up off the couch and actually putting the leash on the dog and taking it outside rather than having good intentions. Good intentions are wonderful, but without action, nothing actually happens. So I love the idea of setting the timer to remind yourself to take the time. I have preset texts that send to me every day saying you are loved, you are worthy, I'm so grateful for this day. So it mixes up and it's like, hey, we're looking at our phone all the time. So it's a great tool to use it for our advantage rather than just letting it be, making us its slave. So I like to use it to change it
No,
around.
this show doesn't come out till July 11th of 2025. So you have a lot of time to set up the Lisa Jones business of the text service with the 5 varied messages that people sign up for only $2 a month. Hint. So I'm
There
going
you
to put
go.
2 Chogyam Trungpa quotes. I think it's you. I think it's just one of those 15 things you're doing. Here's a Chogyam Trungpa quote. I can't read upside down or backwards. So I'm going to read it first and put it up. But taking one breath is like taking one step. Both bring peace and harmony. In 2014, he said this.
Wow.
And do you like that? And can you talk a little more? Because this is what you were just kind of saying.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, taking one breath is like taking one step. Once again, action, physical action is the embodiment of your desire. You can sit on your couch all day and have desire, but without action, nothing is actually going to move forward. And we're constantly, if we're quiet enough, being given ideas on what action to move forward on by spirit. I mean, spirit is here to help us. And we're programming what it is we want all the time by what we're thinking and feeling. And so start having good thoughts and good feelings, and you'll start getting good prompts. But if you think things are negative or things are bad, then that's just what keeps getting, our subconscious just keeps bringing that up for us. So that's why it's imperative that we think good thoughts and, again, have that text message sent to you to give you some good thoughts if you can't come up with them on your own, because we have so many tools out now in this day and age that can really help promote our well-being, our mental health, and help us be the best versions of ourselves.
Okay, now the next area we're getting to, we'll do another Chogyam Trungpa quote, but the now, the present moment, it's all there really is. You're going to talk about that in just a second, but here's one more quote. You know this is authentic Chogyam Trungpa, even though he passed away in like 1988 or something, because there's no way I could have come up with these quotes. I can tell you, anybody knows me. The way to experience nowness, a new word, the way to experience nowness, very Chogyam Trungpa, is to realize that this very moment, this very point in life is always the occasion.
Beautiful.
And can you talk to us
Yes,
about that a little bit more?
that's right. The way to experience nowness. I mean, again, our society, our culture, it's all about, I mean, even going to therapy, let's drudge up everything that happened to us as a kid and just keep processing it and going through it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't process your emotions. The problem is that we didn't process the emotion when it happened, in the moment of when it happened. So we've pushed it all down. So oh my gosh, a great book, Letting Go, by David R. Hawkins, I believe is, yeah, Dr. Hawkins, is amazing. And I had that on my car listening to it when I first moved here. Probably, I mean, I had it on for probably 2 solid years, and it's just about letting go and allowing the energy that's stored in your body to let go. Because I do think a lot of illness comes from us not addressing our emotional issues, and then they get pushed down into our body. And then if they're not ever addressed, it just starts popping out in these weird ways because our physical body is not here to hold those emotions. And so the idea about being in the nowness, because this is all we have is right here, right now. And so, you know, spending more time just breathing. And I know meditation is kind of a for many people, they just, I can't sit still, I can't stop my brain. And it's not about stopping your brain, it's just about giving you some pause, giving you a moment to, instead of just being on this autopilot of outside running you, allow you to run you, allow you to take the moment to slow down and to be in the nowness, to allow yourself to really get the gems and the gold that are being sprinkled on us all the time. But most of us are so busy, we're not even allowing that to fall into our present moment.
Okay, so I'll mention I had Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, the orange one. I think it's A New Earth on the audio CDs in my car for years, but right now it's Joseph Campbell, Power of Myth for like
Oh
3 years
yes.
because it's like 10 different discs or something. So I switched the discs up. I love his.
Love it. I know. I love, again, I don't listen to the radio. I love hearing audiobooks that are, just filling me up in the moment.
And then I did 18 years in New York City corporate stuff. You did the accounting stuff. Was it San Francisco and elsewhere? And you shared that back in episode 71, May 26th. Incredible story. Really fun. Or
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Price Waterhouse, San Francisco, and then Ernst and
Yep.
Young, DC. Yep.
Yep. But for the person tuning in, big city, it's 4 years in the future. They catch this somehow. And they're like, wait, I thought that was an electronic background. Now they're starting to slow down. Can you recover the concept of like, it's not rinse, repeat? And it isn't just about doing a great job at work. It is about being passionate. If you happen to be passionate about your job, great. But there's about buying more breathing space or interacting in a whole different level without it being too kooky or anything like that. Can you do the Lisa Jones thing and talk to us one more time about how it isn't what you think it is right there? It ain't about
That's,
thinking or more thinking.
I love that. Yeah. It's not what we think it is. And part of it is just from my own experience working with others and talking about where they're stuck at their job, which they hate, and they're only doing it to make the money. And they can't wait for the weekend because, it's just drudgery going into work every day, is to turn that all around. Again, it's about being in the moment. It's about finding the aspects of your work that really light you up. And if those are all things that, if you're hating your job and you're just literally going into work to get a paycheck and that's it, it's time to stop and reevaluate what you're doing with your life. Because again, my husband, who was 37 when he was diagnosed with cancer and died at age 44, he was a corporate attorney for General Electric. And a week before he died, he said, I regret my life's work. He said, I wished I had helped more people. All I did was move numbers around on pieces of paper for a big corporation. And that broke my heart. That was like, oh my God, I don't want anyone to feel that way a week before they pass away, that they have wasted their time on this planet Earth. And so if you are feeling that way, then either A, start thinking how you can enjoy what it is that you're doing and what do they say? It's like the way you look at things, if you change the way you look at things, things will change. I mean, because if you're just saying, oh my God, my boss is horrible, 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 how about look at what does your boss do that's good? Start focusing on what is working rather than just focusing on what isn't working. And number two, if you absolutely hate your job, then go follow your joy and your passion. One of the things when I channel passed away loved ones, they say, oh my God, I had no idea how much freedom I had when I was on planet Earth. I got so locked into being told this is what I have to do that I wished I had, really followed my joy, followed my desire, my hopes, my wants, because it's all here for us. But we feel locked into that we don't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Every single day you have a choice. And I know that sounds Pollyanna, Pollyanna-ish. However, I just think if you feel that way, you haven't opened your mind to what's available. I mean, miracles happen every single day. I was driving, this was a couple of years ago, but I was driving my car up this hill and I saw a truck coming like 60 miles an hour. He had a stop sign, but he was not stopping. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. I'm going to die. And I just said, oh God, please help me. Slammed on my brakes. And Michael, my entire car, the hood of my car, crumpled up in front of me like a cartoon. The truck drove by me And as I came to a full stop, the hood of the car went back out and I came to a full stop. And I did not get hit by
Whoa.
this car. I mean, this is what is
You never
possible.
told that on any of the other shows.
Well, this again, it just popped in my mind. It's like, tell the story because this is miracles can happen all the time. If you think you're stuck, then you are stuck. But if you think miracles happen, miracles happen.
Okay, so
So
we're going to try
it's
to tackle that
self-fulfilling
right.
prophecy.
Yeah, we're going to tackle that
Okay.
right now because all I know how to do is say it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, whether we like the movie, the modern movie, the old black and whites from the 40s, 50s, or you don't. It doesn't matter. There's some sort of a magnifying glass that's not actually that helpful. And you're not like Sherlock Holmes, super smart using it. You got to use it though. It's thinking it ain't going away. But if you can spot that you got your magnifying glass up, usually even get too much sun in it and then set things on fire by mistake. So we don't know that magnifying glass is there. We take everything directly. We think it's serious. It's like Plato's cave, the shadows on the wall. How can you be very gentle describing the, whoa, I don't have to take the input, the feedback quite the way I'm supposed to. That's a loop and I can let go. I mean, it's not, I don't want to make it sound like the Matrix or anything like that. But it is simple. If you can laugh, you can smile, you can breathe as starters, you're buying yourself 10 seconds of breathe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and dance. I mean, use your physical body to move energy. Take those 5-minute breaks when you're working. Get up. I mean, I even find myself, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here working for 3 solid hours. Like that's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind, and certainly not good for your soul. So we're here to experience life in lots of different, multifaceted ways, and I just encourage people to introduce the only way to do things differently is to do them differently. So if you're not happy, then do something different. Figure out a way to change up. Like me, I'm going to be house sitting next week and I'm going to be at a whole new place. I'm already reaching out to friends and saying, let's plan dinner on Thursday. Let's go up to Haleakala on Friday. Let's go, walk it to a waterfall on Friday, Saturday. I mean, how fun is that to mix it up every now and then. And meanwhile, I'm going to be over there working, as I need to during the day and with my little dog that I'll be watching, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, it's just interjecting new ways of doing the same thing, but with a new, again, it's how you look at things. If you change the way you look at things, things change.
Yeah. And so in a second, like 2 topics away, we're going to get to the nitty gritty. Like, do angels exist? Are you alone? No, all that stuff. But we're going to go the opposite. We're going to toss out all spirituality, the whole universal thing, the whole angel thing, and everything else. Let's get to the rub of it all. What are you allowing for every one of the audience members, me, you? What are you allowing for daily? What are you allowing for daily? Isn't that's kind of the magnifying glass thing all over again? But we're really doubling back on every one of these topics and having you say it a different way. So what are you allowing for daily, Lisa? And that's all of us. Isn't that the rub? What will you allow for?
Yeah. Again, what will you allow? If your mindset is set and this is the way it is, well, then that's the way it is.
Hmm.
And so I love to allow for miracles to happen all the time. I mean, even as I'm out swimming in the ocean with my snorkel gear on, I'll say, show me a miracle right now. Show me. And then all of a sudden I'll see a little sand fish. I don't know what kind it is, but they're underneath the sand. You don't normally see them, but all of a sudden I see one moving, or I see an octopus, which, I mean, those are very rare to see. But just asking to open your eyes to see things that you haven't seen before, or signs from spirit. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you how many times people call me or, text me, or they're like, oh my gosh, this happened. And I think it was a sign from so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, then it is. I mean, allow yourself to believe that it is a sign from your loved one. I feel like in general, most people are so not open to receiving what's being showered upon us all the time, all these miracles, all these connections, all these signs from the other side that are here to help us.
But they're using it in some other way. Because if they're a good cook, they just have this sense that it's their grandmother coming in. They don't know it. But the chili, it needed one more thing, a paprika or the chili, whatever
Yep.
that chili sprinkle stuff is that's red. I forgot. Chili pepper.
Yes. Chili
Okay.
pepper.
Yeah. Or it could be driving, or it could be this or that, or I'm not going to read this book today you're doing it whether you know it or not. So that might be the back door for a lot of people, is to go, okay, well, I don't know about all that, but I can name in a couple areas where I do kind of use a spidey sense. So can you give us one where you've had that all along in your life and it turned out to be intuition?
Well, yeah, as a child, I had no idea that when I was going to sleep at night and I would see spirit outside my window, that that was actually what was actually, actually happening. Like
What were
I
you seeing?
dismissed it. Oh, I grew up in the mountains of Colorado and I would see cowboys and Indians outside. I had these weird drapes that kind of billowed in and out. So there were little holes underneath each one, but I could see the window. And I mean, it freaked me out, but it was dismissed because my parents said that I was imagining things. But obviously now that I'm in tune with spirit and what's going on, and after having seen many, many spirits, I know that I was actually very aware of seeing spirit when I was a child and dismissing it and not being given confirmation from anyone outside of me besides just, oh, you have an overactive imagination. So that, and also knowing things, that's one of the gifts that I'm realizing is that I will speak truth and I don't even know what's coming out of my mouth. I mean, I might have shared this with you before, but when I was 16 at the Lutheran church, unfortunately, this was a pretty dramatic situation, but our minister was having sex with all the girls in my confirmation class, 16 years old.
Didn't tell that one.
And
Okay.
yeah, the night that he took me down to the basement, I just knew, again, spidey sense. It was like, whoa, what is going on here? And I bolted. I mean, I got out. It didn't happen. Later, we were at an event and somebody said, oh, where's your best friend and the pastor? I said, oh, they're over in that other hall having sex. And I mean, we all laughed. I thought I was joking. I didn't know they were. And we found this out 2 years later.
Oof.
So, I mean, that's just one. Another example is my nephew was here in Maui, and he jumped into the water a bunch with a lot of the other family, and a wave crashed down. He came out. I said, "Oh my God, you broke your arm," and everybody else said, "Oh, he's fine," and he was meanwhile really, really not fine. And 2 days later, oh yeah, I took him to the doctor. He had broken his arm. So things like that just come out of my mouth and I don't even know the truth until I get confirmation later. But I mean, truly, we're all here and have some remnant of that or, other types of experiences like that. That's spirit is speaking through us and to us all the time. It's just a matter of being attuned to it.
I had a 20-second story from Middlebury College. I think I was a sophomore or a freshman. I got like an internship at an ad agency. The guy had been from LA, graphic designer for Disney, maybe Aquaman, stuff like that. I went to college in the 80s, so won't say his name, but he had a U-shaped office setup. And I'm in my first 10 minutes there, and I'm looking at this one window. It was right over the falls, smack center of Middlebury next to this bridge. And a lot of different companies had owned this space. A sports store that every small town college community has is a sports shop, would store their sports stuff, clothing there, and it would get moved and stuff. But I don't know any of this. I get in there and I just blab, does anybody ever see any ghosts here? And the whole place stopped. And the owner pulls me aside, and none of this really matters. I'm just telling a random story. But he says, we just had an exorcism here. I need to know if you see anything. And I did see something, like I saw a cat go by, and I followed it into the largest bathroom in the world that was just more like it was a closet or a room or something before, but somehow it's a bathroom. And there's no cat. And I found a way to chalk that off to it didn't really happen. And now that I look back, I'm like, oh, and I think that's a good metaphor for everything else. We really have an incredible Olympic gold medal athlete level ability to just dismiss everything and get right back to rinse and repeat. Can you talk to us about how it really is simple?
I love that so much. First of all, I just want to say I was at Middlebury College for summer school for intensive Japanese in 19, must have been 87.
Oh, I was there during college, but not during the summer. So that's the
That
only
is
nice time to go. Uh,
That is crazy. That is crazy. And I
yeah,
think I know exactly where that bridge is you're talking about because
yeah.
I was actually going to throw myself off the bridge because I hated the class so much. I ended up dropping out. It was not a good experience, but it was actually one of the first times I actually stood up for myself because my dad really wanted me to go to Japan for a year and I was there studying Japanese to, appease him and I'm like, "Wait, this is not what I want." So
It's
part of
fully
your
immersive.
mission.
And I mean, literally the CIA, State Department, it's a great place to go to learn language, but you are in the language.
Yeah,
That's
and if you were caught speaking one word of English, like you were reprimanded. I mean, it was intense and not for me. It was not my desire. And so part of what you just asked, the question is, how to make it simple. And that's it. What is your desire? You're given your desires from spirit. Whatever you are thinking, it's because there's a parallel universe that is happening right now that you are in and experiencing that experience. So there's nothing about actually manifesting anything because it's already manifested. You're just remembering another experience in time and space that it has already occurred. And I love that idea. I know that's a little trippy
yeah.
for a lot of people.
But what you could even come up with on the best creative idea way is already fully available to you, I guess, is to maybe try to paraphrase it.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that all things are happening, like all ideas are out there already. Every conceivable idea is already out in the universe, and it's just about you tuning in to, oh, and then are you going to act on it? How many times, I'm just curious, Michael, have you had ideas and then all of a sudden somebody else is going with it or has created it or, I mean, have you had that experience?
I
Because that
came back
happens to
from
me a lot.
Paris and I burned my back on a Nantucket beach. I was there for a year. I'm on a Nantucket beach, loving America, loving the sand, and I sketched out a whole board game, ancient Chinese warlord game. I got was it a patent, a copyright on it from the copyright office, and sketched it all out. But then Hasbro came out with Shogun or something. This would have been the late 80s. They came out with a formal big box board game a couple of years later. So, I mean, I'm sure it was percolating around 20, 50 of us to create that, but that would be a good example.
That's a great example because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, and I'm sure, your listeners right now, if you thought, I mean, when I was a child, I had all these, like, it sounds crazy, but I did a lot of babysitting and, with the diapers. And I was like, oh, they should have little, like, elastic edges around the diapers, and now, and of course, that came up. I thought of plastic ketchup bottles. I'm like, why are these ketchup bottles glass? You should be able to squeeze them, and again, just like some really basic things, but it's like, yeah, they've all come into fruition because, it's all part of the fields that's out there.
But let's get to now the nitty gritty, the spiritual, like, hey, we'll go down a quick 5 question yes or no checklist or something else instead of a yes or no. Do angels exist?
Yes.
But now hold on. How do you know? Everyone asks, how do you know? And I'm always like, well, how do you know a good cup of coffee is a good cup of coffee? You got
There
another,
you go. There you
you
go.
want to get
How do
that.
you know?
How do you
Well,
know angels exist? Direct
because
experience?
I talk to them every day. They're around me. I feel them. They tell me they're here. Yeah, I'm a total believer.
Okay, and back to that main theme is love the fabric of the universe.
Yes.
Okay. And then is it really that simple? Are you kidding? It's just about I'm doing more thinking than I would ever realize. Like if I had a life review and it wasn't a bad life, like not the hardcore one, like what you did to the ice cream vendor when you were upset, you were yelling at the poor guy, he cried all night that night. You didn't know. You were just upset. Okay. Instead, if you were just shown your thinking like an EKG or something, your thinking level, you would be shocked at mountains of thinking you've done your whole life. Talk to us about how much thinking we do.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I just feel as though our society, our education system really has us focused so much on the logical side of our brain and how to use it, how to crunch numbers. I mean, I think that actually, I know, and this could be controversial. Let me know if you don't want to go down this conversation. But with AI, there's a lot of fear around AI. There's a lot of, oh my gosh, it's going to take over the world and this and that. And what I see it doing is it's basically we don't have to use our brain as much. It's doing all those tasks that it's difficult for us to spend time in, like writing a paper, as opposed to, like, to me, it's more important to know where to go to find information than it is to synthesize it and write it in a cohesive, coherent way so that other people can understand you. Whereas with AI, you can just type in, like, give me a 2 paragraph summary of, whatever you want to know about. And it takes it a half a second. Like, to me, that's huge. Like, that's a wonderful thing so my brain doesn't have to start having sparks and fire flying out of it, and taking me 6 hours to synthesize something when I can just go and have it done for me. And so I love it because I do feel like the important thing for us now is to program it as as with love, because I do think that, people could potentially use it for bad. But I think that's why it's imperative that those of us that are on the light side of life are also programming it. I say please and thank you. I'm always honoring it and giving it kudos for all the good things that it brings me. And I'm just astounded at what a great way to, instead of using our brain power, just coming from my heart and asking it heart questions. I ask it questions about relationships, or, what do I need to do to improve myself? Or how can, it's amazing. It's just a beautiful tool, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people are very scared of it.
No, you first person that I've heard put it that way, and I loved it. It was unique. And I'll mention one use that I read somewhere on Twitter or X. I just asked it to go to my website and write a 7-sentence synopsis of everything on my website. What do I do for folks? And then I loved the first one, and I was like, well, can you write 4 more of those for me? Because I was like, I got to check this out. Yeah, so it was cool. And I do the thank you and I do the hello and all the rest, just, okay, I'm going to light some sage. I'm still going to bring up one of those like eternal questions though. So we really can get any help if we first just slow those horses, slow the roll, hit the brakes, or at least let go of the accelerator. Can you talk to us about that whole just decoupling a little from what you think is happening?
Yes, once again, it's letting go of the brain and thinking that we know everything. We don't. We all we have is our little computer inside of our brain. It's our own little AI system going on in here, but it's very jilted or tainted by what we've had input into it. I mean, it's really just a hard drive, right? That whatever we've been told as children, especially 0 to 7, I understand, is that's when it was really imprinted with the beliefs. So whatever you're believing is most likely from your parents, your grandparents, the faculty that you went to college, your teachers when you were young. And so what I love, and the angels told me this early on, is that we have like 1,000 coats that we've been put on. We're kind of walking around like Michelin men, because we've been indoctrinated with all these beliefs from other people. So instead, start taking off those coats, start analyzing what you believe, and is this true? And is it true for me? And maybe there's some other way that you want to think about things. And so I guess I just like that idea that, it's really, it's becoming who you truly are by letting go of who you were told to be your whole life, and just allowing yourself to really tap into your heart, because you've got your true wisdom within you. And that's what you're here to share with us all. I want to hear who you are, not who you were told to be your entire life.
So it's always bigger than you could ever possibly think it is, because none of this is about thinking. It's about being. Doing by
Yes, love
being by doing, that whole thing. I forget which is which. Being by doing would be the brain. Doing by being, allowing the universe to bring it to you. That's manifesting
that.
stuff. I'll
Yes,
just say it's doing by being, or be, do. Okay. So
right.
here's some sage. You got sage. Were you already catching it a while
Be,
ago?
do, have. Isn't it be, do, have? Be, do, and then you'll have it.
I love it. Okay, catch some sage. Ask for flowers that aren't directly behind you. That is not an electronic screen. I'm going to say it for the 3rd time today. She earlier at the beginning reached over, and what you were talking about also would apply completely to the whole. Plato was on it. Plato's Cave. I skipped half the reading in college. He teases me about that still today, because I didn't think Plato could exist. Took me 6 months to get over the concept that, wait, whoa, Plato could exist, Einstein could exist, Elvis, fairies, angels, spirit guides, your relatives, Aunt Martha. I always use Aunt Martha. I don't know why. I don't have an Aunt Martha. But okay, catch sage. Are you catching sage? Because this is the point. There are no
Yes.
limits. Yeah.
Yes.
And so how through 2 screens? We do this on every show almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, good. And then I've got a stick to snub it out now. Didn't
Oh,
have it at the
good.
beginning when we started talking, so I don't have to burn out the house with smoke. Whoop, all over me. I didn't do it. Okay. I'll put up just 1 or 2 angels, Joy and Min, because she's kind of Mother Hawaii. So we'll leave it at that. Joy is joy, the emotion joy. Can you feel her vibe as a bubble around you, and breathe extra at home if you want to do it? Put your hand out if you're unsure. A lot of people these days can just feel it on their person. And what are you feeling, if you don't mind doing blow by blow for us?
Oh yeah, just a beautiful, oh my gosh, it's almost like I'm on the inside of a marshmallow. It just
Yeah, I was
feels
gonna say you're getting
super,
cooked.
Yeah, just like super like squishy. Like, those squishies you used to have? That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm on the inside of that.
And just if you could have one thing for her to add to this whole dialogue for all of us.
Yeah, well, just to know that you are so loved. Anyone watching right now, just know you are so loved beyond anything you could ever imagine. So, yeah, and the angels are always with us, giving us love.
And I'm going to try to jump. We're still going to do that one other angel, but I'm going to just go to a photo from Stubbs Barbecue in Austin, Texas. People know it as Stubbs because of the barbecue. It's a good place, but it also has an amphitheater on a sloped hill behind it, and it's amazing. Like world-class bands coming in from France. This is either M83 out of Paris or Two Door Cinema Club out of the UK. I don't know, but this is not rain or humidity.
Oh, wow.
Angels, and
Look at
that's
all those
joy in the
words.
middle there.
Yes.
But if you want to put up both hands like a fireplace and catch the vibe, that's a lot of angels. You're never alone,
Wow.
and the brain will not be able to compute this.
I love it.
But
Yeah, I
the
can feel the
heart,
heat. I can feel the heat coming from there. That's
and
amazing.
that's three screens: iPad,
Wow.
computer. And now here's Mother Hawaii Min, soft-spoken professor, light waves of energy and water. Here's something very private to you. And hear one of
Mhm.
those traditional Hawaiian words that has meaning to you, not to be shared out loud. And just say, got it when you got it.
Got it.
Okay. And then something, a reminder for us all, if you don't mind.
Hmm. Just to be gentle with yourself,
Hmm.
just to stop beating yourself up and to really just love yourself. And in fact, I'm getting to just embrace yourself right now.
Well, I'm going to put these two back up. You're not going to have to do anything except to get a private message. People can run into angels in human form, all the way human. You pinch them, they might not say ouch. But when they pinch you, you say ouch. Everybody laughs, and you can have a cup of coffee with them. I've had run ins my whole life before I even knew this stuff existed, but we've had guests and we've had others do this. And so, Dr. Karen Wyatt, August 30th of 2024, episode 110, this is her guardian angel. She describes how when she was 8, 9, or 10, some age like that, she's waking up tucked into bed. And of course, she sees the hallmark version of an angel that's her. Because when she saw her, she's like, that's my guardian angel. It's my guardian angel, but it's 80,000 of us that have her as a guardian angel. And from that moment on, she wanted to be a doctor, physician. And here she is as a retired physician talking to us in the show. And there was a bunch of other stuff she shared, but you can run into them for a cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be you got a flat tire and the stranger with sparkly eyes fixed it all for you, said just what you needed to hear, and you've always wondered who that was. It could be a little more interactive these days. If you don't mind, you're going to be on the other side of the island and just hear one, this is totally possible, but you're showing people that this is how easy it is to set your intent. Ask for them to show up somehow along the way. They might meet you at the waterfall. They look like tourists. They might be from Latvia, but they've got great sparkly eyes. Their English is a little whatever, but they say everything as if it's Eckhart Tolle talking. Hear that A, that's possible. B, hear the time frame. So you check the usual rational logic boxes. And then close your eyes and see by the waterfall what it might look like, but they might change their Hollywood wardrobe. And breathe through the mouth, everybody. If you want to let go more, turn up that 1970s stereo component. That's the bass, the the receiver. They've got those big turning wheels that move slow and elegantly. Turn it up. That's you going into your body to feel this and see it. Make the request. Get intercepted. It might be just a word or two at a stop sign. You're in a big city doing the crosswalk thing, and some stranger who has to be can't be from New York. They're next to you though, and they say something so inspirational. The rest of your day is made. Why not? Lisa, are you getting some input and some? You're like, whoa, yes, check that box.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm going to read a final bit. We're going to have you close out. You used to do your own, I'm going to say, radio show back then, a show, many episodes, West Coast. Um, People can look that up on your website. So you know how to close this out with an inspirational reminder. I think you've already given us a lot. But here's something really simple from an angel. And this is about just sharing love. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it. And that's an angel named Dale. I got to say his name. He's cool. Okay, what's your reaction to that? What's your takeaway on that? And can you do the Lisa Jones patented thing and let us know what you think of that?
I love it so much. Yeah, absolutely. It just wraps it right back to what I was saying earlier about by you being compassionate to yourself, you being okay with who you are, you loving yourself, then you can be that for others. And the more that you are out there actually helping others, being of service to them, that's what this is all about. It's about sharing love, not only with yourself, but with others. Then that brings our whole world together because, again, imagine those people in your life that are, wah, 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 wah. It's not love that they're sharing. It's who's that from? The Peanuts, I guess, right? It was the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. That's what when I hear people that are negative or saying negative things, I let that tone drown out whatever they're saying. And I just send them compassion and love because most people that are sending out negativity, it's because they're not loving themselves and they're just, reflecting back out to the world where they're hurt within themselves. So to me, it's about taking responsibility for yourself, finding within you the love that you are, and sharing that in service to others. And if we all did that, we would have peace on earth.
Oh, beautiful conclusion to the show. Lisa Jones, you're a rock star. Thank you for coming on Angels, Positivity, and Love. It was a total delight.
Thank you, Michael. It's amazing. And again, here I am in Maui, Hawaii. Anytime anyone wants to come. Whoops.
And
I just
you're
ripped
used
off the
to
leaf.
people can come in no matter what stage of life they think they're in versus what they're really in. Because sometimes that pancake that came your way, you think it's bad, and you flip the pancake, and you actually didn't realize it was an opportunity to go another direction, to get moving with life, get living again. That's your specialty,
Absolutely.
is it not?
Absolutely. And especially, I mean, I lost my husband. I was 37 when he passed away. He was 44, and it completely changed my life, but for the better. I mean, I always say I'm so grateful he woke me up to life. And now I'm helping others wake up to life as well and make life just beyond their expectations because, that's what we're here for. We're here
Ah,
having a magical, miraculous time on light on earth.
I love it. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Aloha.
Mahalo.